Hi everyone, welcome back. We're back outside today. If you're new here, my name's Alyssa and I garden in Zone 7B. And today we are going to be doing some July garden maintenance. And I figured we'll start out here in one of the front garden beds since this is where I'm standing and where I tried to prop up that daylily. I'm really excited about that daylily. I don't have one that color. We have one yellow one in the back, but this one's different. I think when I look down its throat, has a little bit of variegation there. So I'm really excited to see what this one looks like. I just planted these daylilies in this front garden bed last year, so this is the first time that I'm seeing them. The first thing you saw me doing in the video was dealing with the compost, which was long overdue. The container was so full that we haven't really been able to compost for the past few weeks, which was making me twitchy. So finally emptied out the main container, gonna let it air out in the sun for a little bit, staked up that daylily. And now let's just get started with the rest of the projects. First, just gonna deadhead some cosmos, which have been looking so good actually. I really like the cosmos. You're supposed to deadhead them to really encourage them to produce more and more. And I probably should be making bouquets with these. I haven't really been making any bouquets this year for some reason. Well, the truth of it is I haven't planted a lot of annuals this year, just with trying to get the different projects done. That kind of fell by the wayside. But this is why I definitely need a cut flower garden, because I also realize I don't like cutting flowers from my landscape very often because they look so beautiful in the landscape. And if I cut them, it looks bare to me. But I really do enjoy making bouquets. So probably not in this garden, but definitely in my next garden, I'm going to have a cut flower garden. Okay, so now we're in my jungle of a veggie garden. I'm going to harvest the garlic today. Looks like they're a little bit overdue, but fingers crossed on how this garlic is going to look. And there's actually a few cherry tomatoes that I can harvest. So, but lots of cleanup and more staking that I have to do back here. It always gets wild back here. So something, I think a squirrel, is digging over here, and it looks like it knocked down one of the cayenne peppers, but I was just checking the stem and it looks okay. So I'm just gonna try and prop it up. Check out this jalapeno. Looks great, but I am going to wait for it to change color, because if you leave them, they'll actually turn red and they're even hotter. Yeah, something's been digging in here. Some of the strawberries died, but actually a good number of them seem to have survived. And I have a few more that I can place in here. Yeah, not all of them died. Now I probably should have used the tall tomato cages. These are, I believe these are the like medium-sized eggplant, maybe pepper, cages from Gardener Supply. The tomato cages look just like this, but they're taller because these indeterminate tomatoes can get, upwards of 6 feet. And I could have and maybe should have used those, but I'm just not this year. I think it's going to be okay if they get taller than this and hang over a bit. I'll be okay with that. Just need them staked up a little bit better. I think these will do well enough. I don't know if you could really see before, but when I was staking up or putting the cage around the black crim, I did take out some of the inner leaves and the ones at the bottom. I'm probably not going to do too much pruning in terms of taking off suckers, since I do want to maximize production. However, I'm sweating right now, not because it's so hot out, but it's so humid here. And because of that, a lot of my plants are more prone to different fungal diseases. So to encourage like good airflow through the tomatoes, and because a lot of their diseases actually come from the soil, I'm going to cut off the lower leaves, especially too because, you know, I have basil and everything planted here that's going to impede some airflow as well. So I'm just going to cut off, this is flowering, this top of this basil, I'm going to cut that off. I'm just going to cut off some of these bottom leaves just for the health of the plant. It's the pink bumble. It's pretty staked up. I don't know why the bees insist on working where I'm working. I can tell this one is in too much shade, which I knew because it's pretty much under the cherry tree, but it's not as thick and robust as some of the other ones. But it's very long, it's leggy, it's trying to reach out for the sun. So we'll see how it does. I mean, it's producing some tomatoes, but I can tell it's not as robust of a plant as some of the others are. It's just getting long. Okay, so I actually stopped for a little bit, ate some lunch, but now it's getting a little bit later in the afternoon and I actually have a shift this evening. So I think the last thing I'm going to do before I call it quits for today is I want to harvest the garlic. They're ready to go. I want to get those set, get that drying, and again, cross our fingers. I'm excited. I have a feeling that some of them aren't going to be as big as I would hope they would be, but let's see. Okay, I didn't have any of the garlic labeled. There is a photo in my phone where when I laid everything out, so I could probably figure it out if I really wanted to, but that's okay. I probably should care about the varieties more than I do, but at the moment, I don't care so much. All right, let's see. Not huge, but it's not too bad. This last year, they were really small, kind of inedible, just not that useful. I was really disappointed last year. This is small, but I think the quantity that I planted this year is going to make up for the size of some of these. Okay. This one I think should be big. Is this an onion? Oh my God. So this is hilarious. I probably did not need to pull this right now. So I remembered on my last garden tour, I smelt this and I said, the first thing I said was, this smells like onion, but I assumed it was garlic. It was onion. Oh my God, I didn't need to pull this right now, but I did. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. Okay guys, I gotta say, I have mixed feelings about the garlic. So as I said before, I think the volume is going to make up for some of these tiny ones. And although I said I didn't actually care so much about the variety, I am gonna look back because these here are much better size than some of these other ones. And I don't know if that's a variety issue or a bed issue, because the reason I'm not sure if this is a variety issue or a bed issue is because the first year that we did garlic, I did it in that back bed by the fence. That was the best year. They were big, they were delicious. Then last year I did them in grow bags. They were barely usable. I mean, I was really, really disappointed. You plant garlic in the fall, you wait until July to harvest, and it was a failed harvest. I was so disappointed last year, which is why this year I planted so much garlic around. I'm pretty sure I have 3 varieties. I'm pretty sure I did Music, German, and I want to say German Extra Hardy. I'm not 100% sure about those last 2, but I know it's one of them is German or German Extra Hardy. Maybe I'm forgetting one of them. What I want to see is the garlic that to me looks the best are the ones that are in the back bed, which I think might be the German Extra Hardy. And I know I had a bunch of Music, and maybe I put the Music around, and maybe they're just smaller. I feel like I do remember that the Music was a little bit smaller, but still as tasty and fragrant. But what I'm wondering is, maybe for whatever reason, maybe it's just because of a microclimate in that bed, maybe that bed is my best garlic growing bed. So I'm gonna see, because I feel as if I put some German Extra Hardys in this bed as well, and they're smaller than the ones I pulled out of that back bed. So I'm gonna see. If it's a variety issue, then that's not a problem. But this is if this is more of a location issue than a variety issue, what that's going to tell me is that bed just needs to be my garlic bed for now, and I'll have to move other things around. The reason why I switched from just putting the garlic in that bed is because if that entire bed is garlic, it kills the bed for pretty much the entire season. And that was the one downside that first year that we grew garlic in that bed. But if this is not a variety issue and this is a location issue, and the garden is telling me that's the bed you need to go garlic in, I'm not going to fight it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some dust shaken off of these. I'm going to lay them out on some tables outside to have them start to dry out for a few days before I can process them and take them inside. But I'm going to do that off camera because I need to move quick because I need to go get ready for a shift.